I don't have a huge experience of it, so that might not be important. Oh,
Look at these.
so on one side we've got 17th and 18th century, and the other side we've got basically 19th century.
Yes, and they're
Is that right?
mixed. You know, for example, we have a Dao, Chinese Dao here. Here, you see that?
Yeah, yeah, a classic oxtail. Is that an oxtail? It looks like an
Yes,
oxtail,
it
does
is. Indeed.
yeah,
New a
and
Dao.
a shashka.
Yes,
Um,
yeah, yes.
but that
It's a military
centermost,
issue. Military
yeah,
issue, Shashka. Yeah.
yeah, the centermost unhilted Shamshi-like blade is in fact a Tartar style blade with a long
Yes,
armor-piercing
it
point.
is. Indeed.
They're really wonderful looking swords when you get to
Wonderful.
see them up
Yes.
close.
Wonderful. Yes.
Um, there's a Wakazashi there, a Katabela,
Yeah.
a straightforward Turkish Shamshir Kılıç.
Yeah.
Um, another unhilted one with a really nice shaped blade that looks really good. Then right at the left you have basically a European two-handed sword, not the big one, but the
Yeah.
ones small enough to be worn.
Yes. Look,
They're
Pete.
interesting things. Oh yeah. Oh right. So the Carabella is decorated with coral, which places it what 17th century.
Mhm.
That tends to be when coral was most popular
Yes.
before they got it all.
Yes.
Uh, then you've got a helmet with wings on it,
Yeah.
which suggests Polish.
Yes.
Um, but these are all really good quality weapons. Do you like?
Unbelievable how many weapons Ukrainian museums have, huh? Unbelievable.
There was a lot of fighting there.
A lot of fighting, yes. Yeah.
But I think people in that area, and I'm not just the Ukrainians, but the Wallachians and the Hungarians and the Poles and the Russians did appreciate Oriental weapons.
Yeah.
There was a kind of conscious aesthetic interest in them. So it's not surprising that good ones should survive there. But the sheer range of types is
Yes.
amazing when you look at it. I mean, just it's so incredible.
Yes. So you can take a look at these.
Oh yeah,
Mm. The Caravella here
that's
has even, look at that, the decoration on quillins. Very nice, huh?
this is such high grade. I mean, there was a time when they so closely spaced the coral that it completely covered the scabbard and you couldn't see what was underneath it.
Yeah.
This is more restrained. Now, it could mean that it was before. See, this is a deep sea coral from the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
So you had to be able to dive pretty deep to get to it. But there wasn't a lot of it. And in the process of the 17th century to the early 18th century, they basically all the stuff they could dive to because they were just holding their breaths when they were diving for this stuff was harvested, and then there was no more. So occasionally they caught it in nets and it broke and they brought it up. But there was a period when this was really really popular, and then it tapered off because they ran out of supply.
Yeah.
And this I think is more at the end of we're not over the top with it. We're kind of just using it for its decorative features, but really quite nice. All the metalwork on that is it's kind of baroque, which you'd expect at the period,
Yeah.
using a European term. Um, but I like that's quite a short, fat handle,
Yeah.
and it's meant for a solid grip. It's these no matter how richly embellished they are, were often meant for practical use.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's interesting. That Dow looks to me
Mhm.
to be 19th century.
Yeah, it is.
Uh, it's,
It's a new down
it's got,
19, definitely. Yeah.
yeah, it's got a good silk wrap grip on it.
Yeah.
It's basically typical of that style.
Yeah.
The, um, the saber
Mhm.
looks to me to have quite an old blade. The
Yeah.
hilt looks much more recent than the blade.
Yeah.
I'm
Mm.
not saying they still didn't make those blades because there are a lot of what you would call antique style blades that were still being produced in Siongen
Each
and
time, Bede, I look at these military sabers or swords from Europe, I always need to think about Klingenthal, those pattern welded
yeah,
blades they
yeah,
made. It's a breathtaking beauty. Remember them?
yeah. See, yeah, we forget how many specialist areas there were manufacturing high quality swords.
Yes.
Europe's a big place,
Yeah, of course.
and each government had its own ideas about how you should make swords and how they should balance and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Britain kept on having commissions to determine what's the most effective sword.
Yes.
Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But people were paying attention: the French, the Italians, the Austrians, the German states, and let us not leave out the Poles who and the Hungarians who were absolutely fanatic about
Yes.
really good quality swords. They
Yes.
just love them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, these are nice.
Very nice. Oh, yeah, we have a close up
Oh,
of the
Shashka.
hand of
That's
Shashka.
basically what Second World War military
Yes.
mounts,
Yes.
or maybe a bit earlier.
Yes.
But it's amazing how the Shashka completely took over the Russian army.
Yeah.
Because up until then, they'd been changing from their traditional kind of Shamshir or Killich like
Mhm.
sabers into Western sabers or small swords or whatever in the 18th
Yes.
century.
Yes.
And then after fighting in the Caucasus for so long, they decided, well, yeah, these guys might have some good ideas about swords. And a lot of regiments were then re-equipped with shashkas. Not everybody, but the yeah, I love the lacing on the handles of Chinese swords.
Very
It's
nice.
entirely different from Japanese. I
Yeah.
mean, the one I've got on the wall, um, it's got silk lacing that is so old that it's encrusted with a century or two of use because
Very good.
it's about 4 centuries old. So, but they still kept making it. They know exactly they can make it today. You can buy a
Yes.
sword from China and have something like done like this on it,
Yeah,
and it's
it's
just
can be
exactly the same as it was
exactly
200
the
years.
same. Yes, they can do it. Yes, exactly. Yes, beautiful. Yeah. Mhm. Yes. We have more.
Yeah, yeah. Is this Shaga helmet?
Yep, that's right. And
So
Scottish
that's
basket
interesting. That
hilt. Oh,
yeah.
let's go to the
Oh
body armor. Pete, look
yeah.
at the
Been
body armor. Look at the marks.
so they've been proof. So before
Yes.
they've left the factory, somebody's got a big high caliber pistol and just shot them from close range to make sure that they didn't break. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, they're so that the one on the left's definitely a straight out Carassia's
Yes.
breastplate.
Yes.
The one on the right is much more. Maybe it's a trooper's breastplate.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have the shoulder pieces still in existence of
Yeah.
that. It doesn't have a backplate,
Yes.
but it's a very functional
Very.
breastplate. I think
Very.
you'd probably feel a lot safer wearing that than the average
Yes.
one. Oh, this is nice.
Mhm. Very.
So, a high grade Shashka with mounts again, 19th century.
Yeah.
A some kind of backsword.
Yeah.
I have a vague feeling I've seen that kind of uh gourd shaped hilt, not hilt, but handguard kind
Yeah.
of plate somewhere, but I don't know where from. It's beyond me.
Yes.
To me, the buckles and straps on the scabbard look recent, like
Yeah.
20th century.
Yes.
Possibly it
Definitely.
was still in use in the 20th century. So
Yes. Could be. Yes.
and then you've got a classic broadsword of the Anglo-Scottish type,
Yes.
which were very popular. They're not a million miles away from Schiavona from Venice and Albania, uh, but
Yes.
they kind of I've heard people discuss this on YouTube. I don't know. I've never owned one. I've waved a couple of old ones around, so I know what they feel like.
Yeah, heated
But I haven't.
discussion, yes.
But I don't see. Some people say they're very, because of the size of the grip, they're very bulky to wear, and they get in the way all the time. I wonder if that is something to do with how you adjust the straps on your scabbard, because the same thing can happen with a quiver. If the straps are the wrong length or too short or too long, it can be quite impractical.
I mean, the
Um,
one thing which is very interesting for me, I think we discussed it together, Beat. Also Italians say, this basket hilt, we invented it, and then some Scots says, no, they did it. I always ask myself why people argue on these type of things. It doesn't even matter who invented it first. The development matters. For example,
yeah, but
Japanese always admit that the technology of pattern welded steel came from China to Japan. No Japanese smith would say no, it didn't. That's not important who invented it first, but look what Japanese did to it.
exactly.
You
Well, I
know,
think you're running into something that I think is typical of people who study military things, and that is there's a strong nationalistic bias in people who get interested into
yeah,
this.
you're
So
right.
therefore, if you're English and you realize there's lots of these from the English Civil War and whatever, well, we must have invented them. If you're Scottish and there are lots of them from the Jacobite period and whatever, then we must have invented them. If you're Italian, well, clearly either it was us or the Albanians that invented them. So it's, I think one thing is modern people don't realize how interconnected the world was back then. So
Yeah.
fashions in sword ornamentation and design
Yeah.
moved backwards and forwards across Western Europe and into Eastern Europe without too much um, uh, kind of abridgment cutting off of the design. It just didn't suddenly stop here. Whether it was more popular here or more popular there had a lot to do with how people fought. But I mean, you look at that and you think, yeah, well, Scottish Highlander, the endless debates about Claymore, because Claymore in Gaelic means big sword, which doesn't define any kind of sword. So is it a two-handed medieval sword? Is it a basket hilt? It's almost certainly whatever the person using it felt like on the day. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people in the 18th century didn't even know about medieval two-handed swords. So they're just translating the word big sword. So it's a big sword. Well, yeah, this is a big sword. Uh, it's like when people start arguing about Shamshirs and Coolidge and Parla and
Oh God, yeah.
War and everything. It's all crazy. What people call something is what they use to identify it. So when they talk to somebody from their culture, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
As collectors, whether in the West or in the Middle East or in the Far East, what people are trying to do is come to a definition
Yeah.
that's more precise than the original words were, because they want to say, I've got this, and they mean exactly this type of sword. Whereas the words they're using aren't that precise. But unfortunately, they rarely speak the language that
I mean,
using.
it's interesting. It's interesting, but because تایید بصارت, aid to sight, and all those translations are,
Mhm.
made of all those and publish them. So exactly how they call those blades or this terminology, but
Oh
people
yeah.
still use this collector terminology. This is
No,
so
well, what happens
funny.
is you go on Google, and the thing that it finds first is the thing it's been finding for the last 20 years, which is all out of date stuff.
Oh, you're
I
right.
mean, sometimes it depends on the weighting of the search engine, how it picks what it thinks is the most important. But sometimes it's just so out of date. And I've looked up things. I looked up something on crossbows once, and it came up with Payne Galway's work, which was like 1900 thereabouts.
Yeah.
Now, for its time, it was a great piece of publishing, and he had a lot of stuff in it that was quite useful,
Mm,
but it is outdated.
mm,
Um, and like, if you, in English, there's lots of German and Dutch translations,
yeah.
good books on crossbows, which are much more useful than Payne Galway was. Um, the the great thing about Pangawe was all of the beautiful line drawings, which in a lot of cases made it easier for people to understand things that in a photograph are pretty hard to read and work out which bits are which. So I've got nothing against Pangawe in that sense. His only serious mistake in life was to misunderstand how to use a thumb ring, and not everybody cares, so therefore it's not a big thing. But yeah, it's really interesting. I did notice on the Shashka with the knuckle bar hill,
Oh yeah.
it's one of the ones with the bayonet fitting, and it's got a bayonet in the scabbard,
Yeah, that's right. This
which
one.
was a big thing in the 19th and early 20th centuries
Yes.
because it's a that's why have two scabbards, and why have a full scabbard for a bayonet when it doesn't really matter. It's not meant to be sharp. It's a spike. These ones particularly are a spike. They're just for stabbing. They have no other features. So now we come on to these beautiful. These are Berdischer axes.
Yes. Very nice ones. Very nice.
Yeah, good for fighting and apparently quite good as a musket rest. Uh, so quite practical. Then again, look at those long-handled, narrow-bladed axes.
Yes. Very nice
See,
one.
you would do serious damage with those.
Yeah.
In the 1920s and 30s in New Guinea, North Australia, they started selling people hatchet heads, like miniature axe heads. And the people in New Guinea knew how to make stone axe heads really quite well, but these little steel ones, oh, great. So they put them on long poles and used them in warfare. And
Do you remember Dr. Ajmandi on our channel? Some years ago, he went on vacation to the north of Iran, and then he was hiking. And then he made a video because there in a village, in a remote village, in thick forest there, he saw a smith making axes. So please take a look at that.
I
They
remember
made,
seeing that.
yeah, do you see that? And the
Yeah.
axes were long handles and like this. I've never,
Hmm.
and then they make it, hand forged, very sharp. So he bought two of them. I remember it in this video. And he asked them, why do you do that? He said, these are for shepherds. I said, what do you mean?
Yes.
Now listen, because you know that in North Iran, there are not only in North, but in Iran, we have wolves. And
Mm.
wolves in Iran, I mean, in Germany, we are taught, oh, there are wolves, but they don't do anything to you. But in Iran, wolves actually, well, they're not as nice as German wolves because they attack, right? They
Yeah,
attack the
well,
sheep, right? And they also, when there is cold, we have numerous accounts on attack on human beings, right? So
yeah.
these shepherds use them as a walking stick, and when the wolves come, they said they fight with their dogs, those big dogs they have, and
Yeah,
with
yeah, I've
these
seen that.
axe against the. And they said, "What? Look, Pete, how long the tradition they have kept this tradition still today? Isn't it
It's
wonderful?"
I think it's similar in the Balkans and in Poland too that shepherds have walking stick axes.
Oh, they
And
do.
and
Okay, okay.
and they're very practical. I mean, they're quite a good walking stick. I've kind of handled a couple of reproductions. The originals I've seen were only the head, so that I didn't have the full shaft, but I've seen reproductions with the full shaft. So they're quite comfortable. But for a person that's done even a little bit of practice, it's like having a murderous golf club. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. Of
I mean,
course.
you can get so much speed up at the end of that blade, and it's so narrow. I mean, that wide or whatever. It's just going to go through whatever you hit.
Yeah.
The hatchet blades in New Guinea were splitting people's sternums open to the kind of heart, all the way through to the heart.
And the guy
This is
in the interview, if I remember it correctly, he was asked, "Is it effective against those wild big wolves?" And the guy looked up. It is effective against any type of animal.
yeah, yeah. No, this it's just kind of it's basic physics. You get a long lever with a narrow blade on the end. It's going
Yeah.
to have a lot of effect. I mean, things like the Bardisher axis in warfare had two things going for them. One is they had a blade almost as long as a sword, And once you got it moving, it was going to slice through anything. The other thing is, I think they were quite terrifying if you were up against them, because these were used by the Streltsy in Russia and other firearms using troops. So these like in Holland or the Netherlands in general, or Europe in general, when you had musket rests, they were a little fork on the end of a pole, and you rested your musket, because musket barrels were big and heavy. It wasn't, a primitive idea. It was practical. But these things kind of gave you twice as much effect, because you can't use a Western musket rest, for much else than resting your musket on. But when you fired your shot, and these are for muzzle loading muskets, if somebody charges you before you can reload, you can just whack them with that.
Yeah.
And it would be equally effective against infantry and cavalry.
Yeah.
And you can poke with it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, they're pretty impressive. It's one of those things where one culture came up with something really quite remarkable, and everybody else said, yeah.
I think we
But
talked about it before, this one.
Oh, the rock crystal mace, yeah.
Yes. Beautiful.
Let's show people just how skilled our artisans are.
Just making
this,
it?
again, it's a sign of rank. Yes. I mean, if you were a colonel in a regiment, you would have one of these stuffed into your waist belt or your sash around your waist. Yes. And everybody who saw you knew you were in charge.
Yes.
It was, like rank things that people used to wear on well, they still wear on their uniforms and that. Yes. But it was much more obvious. So the axe at the top with the shaft is very practical.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use it for fighting, but you could also use it for chopping wood.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Three on the bottom are really nicely shaped. I'm thinking the one on the extreme right that has that massive thickened base to the blade must be incredibly strong.
Yeah.
And they've all got kind of rather unique takes on how to make an axe. They all look like they'd work both for fighting, because the thing about axes that have those like bearded blades is if you're fighting people that have shields, you can hook them over the shield and pull the shield down and then just whack them in the face. And if you're using them for just cutting things up, I think that type of blade can be quite effective. Now here we've got helmets and muskets.
Muskets, yes.
So classic Polish chapka, is it called?
Yeah.
The square top helmet, which is very, very famous in Poland and anywhere the Poles fought. Then we've got bolt action rifles and
bolt action.
The one on the extreme left, I'm not quite sure what that is.
I cannot tell from this distance. We need close up. Oh, I don't have it. Well, anyhow. Oh, is it this one? No, it's a different one, huh? Hold on. Oh, no, this is a different one.
Yeah. There's a lot of, different models and from different
this is a percussion cap, Bede. Look at this.
Yeah. You can see where
that's
the cap
percussion.
goes. The nipple, as it's called.
Yes, exactly. That's a percussion cap.
And it's got sights,
yes,
or a setup for sights. I don't think everything is there, though. It might be. Sometimes the shadows are a bit misleading.
Yeah.
And then those I don't know, are they grenadiers helmets with the metal face on the front? Very popular in Prussia, and everybody that imitated Prussia loved them too.
Yeah. Look at these.
So basically two-handed swords.
Yeah. Very nice. And
on the extreme right, it's not technically, I don't think, a rapier, but it's a
side
sword with
side
sword. That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I mean, quite a variety. I'm looking at the shapes of the blades. They have different tapers. They have, so like everyone's built to a different specification, really.
Look at these beads. Very nice.
Yes. I mean, you can still, just double check. There appears to be traces of the fuller in the one on the right, in the right-hand photograph.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the one next to the side sword definitely has a fuller.
Yeah. Definitely.
It, but they're different. Each sword is, a unique design. Because, I mean, with a museum that's got a lot of swords over a fairly long period of time, you're going to get not so much typologies, but quite interesting variations. The helmets are very nice looking too.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes.
Very nice. Here.
Very high grade.
The
Oh,
one
look
on
at
the
that.
right, look at the face beat. This could be
Oh yeah.
straight from a scary movie.
Oh yeah. This is out of a horror movie.
Yes.
And it's got kind of like an adaptation of the fluted helmet you saw in the 14th and 15th century in
Yeah.
Iran and Turkey.
Yeah.
Whereas the one on the left, the neck guard is embossed to look like scales,
Yes, it
which
is.
which I
The
think
Polish love that. The Polish love this, right? This
they had a
decoration.
thing with scales, and I mean, it was related to origin myths and everything like that.
Yes.
But sometimes it actually produces something that looks really quite artistic.
Very nice.
Uh, yeah, they're very well made.
Very nice. Beautiful. Hmm. Look at how many swords they have.
Yeah, so small swords and
Yeah. Yeah.
various variations on them.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, they're actually not quite the same as some of the ones I've seen before.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but fairly high grade stuff,
Very.
and a lot of them. Oh, so you've got what a cuirassier's helmet
Yeah.
from the Napoleonic era,
Yeah.
and a Mauryan,
Yeah.
which could be from about, I think they were popular over about 150 years.
Yeah.
I know they look so strange, but they're really effective helmets
Yes, very.
because it's really hard to hit somebody on the head wearing one of those.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things. Either your blade's going to slide off or it's going to get trapped and you're going to be stuck like this with your blade up there and somebody will just stab you when you. And apparently very good protection to the head.
Yes.
Think of that. If a bullet comes towards you, there's a fair chance it's going to hit one side of the helmet at a very high angle, so it's going to just ricochet off.
Yeah,
I mean, you'll get whacked in the head, but
yes.
you'll be much better off than having a big round helmet, which will catch it much better. So that's a back sword with 2 rings and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm using these terms from European
Yeah, of course.
sword naming, but I really don't understand them very well. It's single edge, it's got a deep fuller, and the fuller is so deep it's creating a T-section blade, which is quite an elegant thing.
Yeah.
Another Polish helmet or Polish style helmet on the other side.
Look at these.
These swords, well, Clochemel on the left, maybe?
Yeah.
Some kind of officer's sword in the middle.
Yeah.
I think the others are also might be officer's swords. Not really meant for fighting, but if you're pressured, you could do a lot of damage to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Question is whether it would kill them fast enough to save you. Oh, here we have an unmounted blade with a fair amount of decoration on it.
Yeah, very nice. Really nice.
And a pickle halb.
Yeah.
Everybody likes a pickle halb. Oh, bows. I love those. We've got various types of crossbow.
Yeah.
We've got on the bottom left-hand side, that piece of wood with the hinge on it is in fact for pulling back the crossbow string.
Yeah.
We've got some really solid looking crossbows there.
Very nice.
A composite bow looks Turkish.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but it looks Turkish.
Yeah.
See
here, I have a picture here, but not that well. Good, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd be fairly confident that it was Turkish.
Yeah.
You can see exposed horn on the belly.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not 100% sure, as we know from the translations you've done. Uh, a lot of Persian bows, the belly was covered with birch bark
Yes.
and painted. Uh,
Yes.
it wasn't always the case.
Yeah.
I think some Shah Khan bows had the horn exposed, and
Yeah.
a couple of other styles. But that to me looks like a Turkish bow that's been used quite a bit. Um,
Yeah.
the arrow, I'm not so sure of. I find the easiest way to categorize arrows
Mm.
in this area, so the Ukraine area and the Crimea, places like that, is that if the arrow is 80 centimeters or longer, it's Crimean Tatar, and if it's 75 centimeters or shorter, it's Turkish, Ottoman Turkish. But that didn't mean Crimean Tatars didn't use 75 centimeter arrows,
Yeah.
or really tall Ottomans didn't use
Absolutely.
80 centimeter arrows. It's, you have to adjust these things to the individual. But yeah, that looks nice.
Yeah. Very. Very
Yeah,
nice.
it's in pretty good condition.
Yeah. Pretty good. Oh, there is a Persian khanjar.
Yeah, and is that a Piaketa from Sri Lanka
Yes.
on the
Yes, from
number
Sri
10?
Lanka.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
People
beautiful.
people like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it. These are truly artworks. Khanjars are as well, I must
Some
say.
years ago, where was that? Was it in Germany or in France? I don't remember. But I met a collector who only collected that.
Yeah, I can understand it. They're often very beautiful. There's
Yes.
one I think that turned up on the English program, the Antiques Roadshow, that had gone from Sri Lanka to
Mhm.
Albania, where it became a presentation piece to one of the pashas there,
Oh,
and they loved it. The Albanians, I mean, and then somehow it ended up in Western Europe. But it had all of the associations with the previous owners, so you could tell by the design that it was from Sri Lanka. You had documentation that it was a
beautiful.
valuable weapon in Albania, and then
Beautiful.
it ends up in Western Europe because it's a present or something. I don't know. Oh yeah, I
Yes.
these straight the like on the left, it's a kind of mild um yataghan
Yeah.
slash really big bitchak,
Yeah.
but more yataghan. The one on the right is one of those double-edged Turkish daggers that are so big that one of my friends associated them. If you didn't have one of those nice maces to wave around to tell people where to go, you'd pick one of these up and just point. And only a pasha would be able to afford one. So
Yeah.
therefore, it meant you're an important enough person to
Yeah.
take orders from, because
Very
that would
nice.
would have been a seriously expensive knife
Yes.
with that scabbard. So on the right is Moroccan,
On the
or certainly
this one,
Maghrebi.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The so-called
The one,
kumia, as they call it. Yeah.
yeah. They often have quite sophisticated blades
Yeah.
that are related to early Khanjar blades, in the
Yeah.
sense that they have one long sharp edge and one short sharp edge. So there's a kind of blunt piece between the handle and the beginning of the shorter sharp edge, and it's usually on the outside of the curve where I'm going by memory. On the inside of the curve, it's one continuous sharp edge. Then the one on the left of that, number 3, I don't recognize it. It
This is a
looks,
they normally discuss or talk about similar daggers from they call it from Palestine and or it's but I've seen also the Yemenite examples, right? So the
yeah,
collectors have a very interesting name for that, but my memory fails like Shirbiya, something like that. But anyhow,
yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah.
an
It
Arab
looks,
dagger.
it looks. Whereas the other daggers are very decorative, it looks more like something you'd fight with.
Yes.
Um, because if it's got a very plain double-edged blade,
Yes.
that would be characteristic. Some Turkish Khanjar type knives are only about that long,
Yeah.
And the handle is almost 2/5 of the length of
Yes.
the whole dagger.
And the
And
one, go
yeah,
ahead.
they have really strong, basically oval cross-section blades,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which you could basically just stab somebody with if you were in a fight with somebody not wearing armor. But
Yeah.
even plate armor, if you were grappling with somebody, you could
Yeah.
get it into a gap and just lever
And
it round
people,
until you.
exactly. People, always think, I mean, the mechanics of a fight, you move, you go to the side, and it depends also on the intention of the guy, how he wants to hurt you. And, there is not such a thing as a perfect armor. Oh,
Oh
absolutely.
no, and
Yeah.
particularly once you get somebody down on the ground,
Yeah.
uh, then there's all kinds of things that go wrong.
Yeah.
It's a classic thing. Cavalry is effective when it's moving, but
Yes.
it's a disadvantage when it's still
Yes.
against infantry. Um, and armor is only as good as the circumstance it's being used in. So
Yes.
there's some circumstances it's really good. The famous one was the defenders of Malta during the Great Ottoman Siege.
Yes.
Were wearing full plate armor, and it was really hard in the kind of hand-to-hand fighting on ladders and that when the Turks were coming up the ladders for the Turks to actually knock these guys out because they didn't have enough flexibility. They're on top of a ladder, and these guys are just fully armored
Yes.
and had big swords or maces or axes or whatever. They
Yes.
did a lot of damage,
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
and but that was a perfect use of full plate armor.
Yes. And look at the one on the right, a typical Arab dagger, very beautiful.
Yeah, I mean it's like you know how the Wahhabi ones have the fully turned up scabbard. This is looks much more practical, but the hilt shape is very reminiscent.
Yes. And an
Yeah,
Ottoman
you
dagger
wouldn't.
next to it.
Yeah, well, this is the whole coral period, isn't it? So what,
Yeah.
17th, early 18th century, something nicely made. So now we've got a kind of card, number 7.
Yeah.
Then we've got a North African
North Africa.
short curved sword.
Yeah.
Then we have an Indian
Indian.
um,
Yeah.
dagger. And then we have another Persian khanjar, number,
Yeah.
is it 15? Yeah, 15.
Yes.
Or is it an Ottoman khanjar in the
Ottoman. I would
Persian?
say more Ottoman. Yes.
Yeah. Because there
Very
wasn't
good.
like like a copyright bureau saying, oh, you can't use daggers like that because the guys over the border use them.
Of course.
People picked daggers they liked, and there was a lot of import going on. Ah, here we get Keris,
Yes.
Javanese,
Beautiful.
I think.
Indonesian. Yes. Beautiful
See, some
blade.
had straight blades and some had wavy blades.
Yes.
Um, as I said, I've seen someone take one of the, somebody knew what they were doing, take one of these apart, so the separate metal bits came out and everything like that,
Yes.
and they're very finely crafted.
Very.
The flooring is usually exceptionally good,
Yes.
so these are unusual. Well,
African again.
number 19 and number 20 I recognised from North Africa,
Yeah.
Tuareg or something like
Yes.
that. 18, I don't know. I don't even recognise the
Is the
decorative
number
style.
20 is an arm dagger, African arm dagger? They put it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
here, the arm. Yeah.
I can see a lot of movies making use of those once they find out about them.
Really
They're
nice.
kind of classic movie type equipment.
Look at this speed.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Indonesia again.
See, there's so many. I mean, I think you could write 3 books just on the shapes of blades in Indonesia and
Yeah.
Malaya and up to the Philippines.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're all separate cultures, but there's a continuum.
Yeah.
So each neighboring part kind of is a bit like the next one. It's like languages where, on if you were speaking Basque, if you're in the far west, you couldn't understand someone from the far east
Yes.
of the Basque lands, not the world. But the next valley down, you could mainly understand them, and they could mainly understand the next valley, and then but get far enough away, and they're entirely different. Oh, this looks nice.
Yes.
Uh,
If as far as I remember, I think this reproduction armor based on the materials they had. This one in the museum. If
Yeah,
I
well, looking
remember.
at the scales, they look like the better quality modern reproduction ones,
Yeah, yeah,
and they look like they've been laced together by somebody who knew what they were doing.
yeah.
Though I think the vertical laces are a bit long. I think they should be a bit shorter than that. Um, but that's pretty much how. I mean, I think a lot more of these armors open down the front than we realise.
Mhm.
Um, simply because when I made them, the front opening ones were the easiest ones to put on, and that's an important thing. If you remember the video I did of putting on my armor, the leather one, it
Yeah.
took so long because of all the different bits you had to fit
Yes.
together. And that was based on real armors. It wasn't like I just made it up or something, but it was kind of impractical. I did make a back opening, well, two
Mhm.
back opening Lamar armors, and
Yes.
I found them to be, if you had a servant, they were perfect. You could get into those really fast. Your servant would do up the straps and you'd be off. But if you're doing it by yourself, they're a bit hard to put on.
Mhm.
But the front opening ones, and there are illustrations of them in the Chinese military encyclopedias, though they're not always understood the way that they were meant to be. They had an overlapping part in the front, so you basically were double armored down the center of your torso, which is a real good idea, particularly when people are trying to kill you.
Mhm.
The next one is what I would call until somebody can prove that this scale design was actually used, a misinterpretation of Visby type scales where they've doubled up the holes on the bottom of the scale to make something you could lace together into a solid row. In this case, they're making overlapping downwards rows, which is a typical scale thing to do. And it's not unlikely that people actually made armors like that because the paintings from Pianja Kent and that show armors that could be interpreted that way.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm not saying that they never did this. What I am saying is that in the areas that they're trying to say this was done, they probably didn't do it that way
Mhm.
uh, because there's a lot of um, armor scales excavated and a lot where they're more or less together, and you can work out how they're put together. I mean,
Mhm.
Ukraine. I mean, even in Scandinavian countries, like in places like Burka,
Yeah.
um, there's quite a fair bit of surviving armor. I like his splint skirts on his armor. I've never seen that in reality. It's very spectacular, though. Don't
Yes,
think
it
it'd
is.
work, but still, who knows?
These are now
And this is,
antiques again.
yeah. But the interesting thing is there is a relationship because this anime style of armor, as the Italians call it,
Yes.
actually has sliding um, bands,
Yes.
particularly across the bottom of the torso there, which
Yeah.
have leather straps on the inside and or sometimes just sliding rivets. And they gave you enough movement to crouch down and move up. And this the poles like this type of armor, I
Yeah.
think, because it was very practical.
Yeah.
And you could decorate it really nicely. I mean, you just look at the gilded crosses and
Yes.
all kinds of stuff that they put on. Sometimes a Madonna and Child, which is an interesting thing to wear into battle, but still.
Mhm.
Um, I'm just going to get a drink. I've got
Sure. No.